Well, I was 19 years of age when I was wrongly convicted of the Cardiff newsagent killing. We were dubbed a Cardiff newsagent 3 by the media. The evidence they had against us was 5 witnesses, a police officer who said he overheard a cell confession, but there was never no forensic evidence against us, which, as far as I'm concerned, indicated that we wasn't there. And when I was in prison, I had to, my wife walked out on me, my daughter died while I was waiting for the trial, and then I got found guilty for a crime I didn't do. So for the first year, I was quite lost in the system, crying, upset, not knowing what to do. And then I met some other innocent people in the prison who were saying, you've got to get your act together, you've got to write to people, you've got to do things. So, I started getting my act together. I was in a bit of a state, but then I knew I had to study law. For some unknown reason, I went down the library, picked up an Archibald's book, and had a look at confession evidence. And when I started seeing the mechanisms, what put me in prison, I also started finding mechanisms which I could get myself out of prison. So that was my journey, how I started studying the law. I managed to change the law 5 times when I was in prison, you know what I mean? I mean, the access to journalists played a significant part with the documentary which was being made, and they tried to stop me from making this documentary and basically proving my innocence. And the media at that particular time took a really big interest with the new evidence they uncovered. So it went against everything. So I took the government to court and actually made a landmark ruling in the House of Lords in 1999, which basically give the right to journalists to visit prisoners. And I think that was a significant step to help other victims of miscarriages of justice. My family played a significant part in my fight for justice. I know my family started campaigning for me. They were doing demonstrations. My mother was on a megaphone outside with the students. I mean, the campaign just took off, and there was articles being wrote about us, programs being made, not just on the TV, but radio programs, Radio 4, Radio 5, BBC, BBC 2. Everybody was infatuated by the case because they could see something wasn't right. But at that particular time, there was no mechanisms for sending my case back to the Court of Appeal because there was no independent body to look at my case. So even though I had all this evidence, there was nowhere to go with it. So I had to wait another year. After 1996, all the evidence came together, which was proving our innocent. The new body didn't set up until 1997. So when that came into play, my case was the first case, or one of the first cases, which was referred back to the Court of Appeal, but the new evidence had been available for 2 years, before our case was actually sent back to the Court of Appeal so we could have an appeal. The appeal was successful. I mean, the High Court was quite scathing of what the police done and the investigation, and of these witnesses who were in serious trouble with the police who gave evidence against us. And the courts finally saw through the tissues of lies which was presented to the trial judge, and I don't think you can blame the trial judge. I don't even think you can blame the jury. They were lied to, so they could only go on what they had at the particular time. But I cannot emphasize the importance of the Criminal Cases Review Commission being set up, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be sitting here now talking to you. So I wouldn't be able to go out and help other people. Now, when I got released, the first year was a bit of a haze because I had quite a lot of media attention, and wherever I was going, I had the media following me and doing other documentaries and whatever. And I was trying to help other people, which we were successful in some cases, not always successful in others, but nevertheless, that was my desire and passion to, help other people and do something positive. Because when something happens like this to you, you can go 2 ways. You can either be bitter and angry and feel sorry for yourself and go into the poor me syndrome, or you can do something constructive. I decided to do something constructive and set up an organisation with other innocent people, Miscarriage of Justice organisation, to help other people. because I studied prison law, I was quite popular because I used to do the adjudications. If they were in trouble with the prison authorities, they would call in the lawyer, which is me, and then I would write out the defence. And I had quite a good success rate. So, you know, I'd done that. And when I come out, I carried on with my studies as well. I got my A-levels in law, and I attended Glamorgan University. So I put that all together. But I mean, it's so imperative that, you know, the media and everybody works together. There were some prison officers who would really give me encouragement. Keep fighting, Mike. Keep doing this. Keep doing that. And I can remember one, his name was Bob. I'll never forget him. And he always used to say to me, ignore some of them horrible officers. You know, you keep doing what you're doing. Go down to the gym. Go down and study. Go down and keep your mind fit. You keep your mind fit. You keep fit altogether. You know, and keep your body fit. And keep fighting. And you know, there was some good officers like Bob around who give me the encouragement. And even when I came out, I mean, the response from the public was fantastic. I just got out just before Christmas. It's a time of family time, Christmas time, you know, to be with your loved ones. And you know, the amount of people who came up to me in the street, shook my hand and jumped back in their car and drove off was absolutely amazing. Old ladies coming up to me with their walking sticks going, those naughty police officers. And it was quite funny, you know, looking back on it, like, it wasn't like that in my day. And, you know, you couldn't stop laughing, like, you know, because, you know, an 86-year-old woman coming up to you, you know, saying that she knew that the police were bad, you know, and for you know, women like that coming up to you, an old age woman saying that, it was unheard of as a rule, because they come from a different generation where the police were good, they done no wrong, you know. And yet there were these old ladies saying, I know they're bad, I've seen them do things, you know, they got my grandson in prison, and you know, wagging their finger and whatever. But the support was fantastic. And it all come to the issue of how I survived in prison, because I don't see myself as a victim, not anymore. You know, when I first come out, I did feel a little sorry for myself, but I soon had to get myself together because I had a young son and I had to take care of him. Whatever you go through in life, you've got to take the good out of the bad. And some of the good things which have come out, I educated myself in prison, I taught myself law, I wrote 2 international award-winning books. That's not bad for a man who just come from a council estate, you know. And you got to look at things in that perspective. You know, it's made me a better person. My message is never, ever, ever give up. There is always hope. Even when you think there's no hope, there is hope. You know, you got to educate yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. You've got to educate yourself. Study law. Find out what's gone wrong in your case. Put all the points together. You know, be constructive, not destructive.